My name is Katia Esseri. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Kyung-ae Jo.
Thank you. Can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from South Korea.
Can I see your identification,
Yes,
please?
sure.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. That's fine.
Thank you.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I work.
What's your job?
I'm an office worker.
Why did you choose that kind of work?
I thought I am good at organizing things. I'm an organized person, so I thought I would suit to work in the office environment.
What do you enjoy about your job?
That's a very good question. It's quite nice to coordinate among people. It's nice to work with lots of different people from lots of departments. So I like socializing with the people, and also when it's related to work, I can also help them at the same time as while I'm socializing with them. So.
Let's talk about food. What's your favourite kind of food?
I like spicy food, as you can imagine.
Who normally prepares the food in your home?
I do.
Why?
Because I've got more time to cook. I work part-time at the moment. So, yes, obviously I have more time to prepare food.
Do you often eat in restaurants or cafes?
We'd like to, but we can't do it often, but we do sometimes because of the kids. It's sometimes a nightmare to take the kids to a restaurant, but yeah, we sometimes do.
Did you ever do any cooking when you were a child?
I didn't do much.
Why not?
I was too lazy, I think. I was relying on my mom to cook all the food, so I feel I'm a bit regretting it, but no, I didn't cook much when I was a child.
Let's talk about spending time outdoors. How much time do you spend outdoors?
When the weather is nice, I do spend time about 3 hours in the garden with the children. Sometimes I take them to park, but about 2 hours or 3 hours a day maybe.
What do you enjoy doing outdoors?
Entertaining the kids. So I like taking them to a playground or to a river and show them ducks and swans, etc. So that's the most enjoyable time.
Do you think you will spend more or less time outdoors in future?
It depends on the weather, but as long as the weather permits, I would spend more time. But obviously, in the winter time, I tend to spend more time indoors because of the cold weather.
Do you think it's important for people to spend time outdoors?
Yes, I do. It's quite healthy. It's quite healthy to get fresh air. And then people get less lazy when they're outdoors. They do some activities. So, I think that's important.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Here's some paper and a pencil for making notes.
Thanks.
And here's your topic. Please don't write anything on the booklet.
Okay, thanks.
I'd like you to describe a hobby you enjoyed when you were a child.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up.
Okay.
Can you start speaking now, please?
When I was a child, when I was very young, I didn't have much hobby because we used to. We were quite encouraged to concentrate on only studying, not only, but yeah, pretty much studying. But once I got into university, I started to learn table tennis, bowling, and swimming quite late. But yeah, which I really enjoyed. So I used to regularly go to table tennis club, and I played with my colleagues, friends. And also I was in bowling club as well. So once a week I used to go to play bowling, things like that. And now I'd like to keep playing table tennis, especially, but it's quite difficult to keep my hobby at the time because of the busy environment with the children and with the family. But yes, definitely I would, once the children grow up, and I would start to play and be more active about the hobbies. Shall I continue, or
Can you tell me more about that?
what it involved? It involved the like socializing things. So obviously, as I said, I was in a club, so I had to socialize with people, not just playing, the sports, table tennis, etc. We after playing the sports, we used to go out together and have a drink and have a nice chat, things like that.
Thank you. Did your friends have the same hobby as you?
Some of them had, and especially, once I got a job, my colleagues, some of my colleagues had the same hobbies. So we used to have a club in my work, which everybody plays together with each other. So that was good.
Okay, thank you. Can I take the booklet
Sure.
and the paper and pencil back from you, please? Okay. Thank you. We've been talking about a hobby you enjoyed when you were a child, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Let's consider first of all children's hobbies. In Korea, in South Korea, how do children spend their free time?
Playing with the children, playing with the friends, and they do learn lots of musical instruments, etc. So they do spend quite a lot of time to learn new things, to have a hobby. For example, learning how to play piano or flute. And at the moment, one of my nieces is learning how to ride on a horse, things like that. But also, of course, when they have free time, they just go out and play in a playground with their friends.
And you said they play musical instruments. Do they choose to do that kind of hobby?
Yeah, I mean, there would be probably parents would give them a few options, and so that they can choose what they would like. But yeah, there might be some of the parents' preferences as well. Depends.
And do you think there have been any changes in the types of hobbies children have now compared with the past?
Yes, definitely. When I grew up, when I was a child, it was quite as wealthy as now, and people didn't really have much energy or time to think about hobbies. It was more about studying, whereas now people can afford, and there are lots of ways they can encourage their children to have a hobby. So yeah, definitely these days children have more options than I used to do.
So you say afford. Is it expensive for children to have hobbies nowadays?
I think it's the same in the UK as well. Just to teach one instrument does cost, doesn't it? So yeah, I would say if they want to have a few different hobbies, then that would cost.
So why do you think some children don't have hobbies?
First of all, maybe they didn't have opportunity to realize there are some hobbies they could explore. And also maybe they were not very interested, or they were not encouraged, or their parents couldn't afford it. There would be all different reasons.
Let's move on now, Kyunghae, to think about hobbies for adults. How does it benefit an adult to have a hobby?
It definitely helps to relax from the stress from the children.
How does it help to relax?
If you are doing what you are enjoying, then you can forget about other stressful situations or stressful things. You can just concentrate on what you are enjoying. So therefore you can have new energy to fight with a new stress maybe.
And what kind of hobbies are done alone, and what kind of hobbies do you do with other people?
What kind of hobbies do I do with other people?
Do people in general do alone, and which do people do with other people?
Fishing would be the definite example of doing alone. Like my husband enjoys fishing, but it's very difficult to share that hobby because, like as a family, for example, he loves it, but I don't, and so we would try to go together to share, but it's not always enjoyable for me. Or like football, any sports you need to do with other people. Those would be that would be the example of you share with other people.
So what are the differences between the two kinds of hobbies then, the ones you do alone and the ones you do with other people?
The hobby you do alone would be more useful to, I don't know, useful is not very correct way to say, but more helpful to relax, probably, whereas like a football, which involves lots of other people, would be more enjoyable maybe, just socializing.
And can a hobby cause problems for other people?
If you have let's talk about fishing again. If you really enjoy fishing and both other members of family would like to do something else which we can share together, then that would cause a problem. Either you have to sacrifice your hobby and not going fishing, or other family has to sacrifice do something else without you. So that could cause a problem.
Okay. Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you very much.